On this episode of China Uncensored, a beautiful woman wants to go to China, and the Chinese regime is freaking out. Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. There is a terrifying force sweeping the world, and we are helpless against it. I'm not talking about ISIS. I'm talking about beautiful women. Oh, beauty queens, it's so unfair. You look so beautiful, and I look like the bad guy from The Matrix. Now, sure, when some people think of beauty queens, they think of this.
I believe that our education, such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere
But that isn't always the case. That was Miss Teen USA. But Miss World is different. Their motto is beauty with a purpose. That's why they were so thrilled to have Chinese-born Canadian Anastasie Lin win Miss World Canada this year.
Anastasie Lin was crowned Miss World Canada in May. She's spoken out about religious persecution in China and acted in films that highlight human rights issues.
The 25-year-old actress testified at a U.S. congressional hearing on religious persecution in China in July.
Wow, that's actually pretty awesome. That is beauty with a purpose. One reason she was inspired to speak out about freedom of belief in China is the Chinese regime's persecution of Falun Gong, a meditation practice. She practices Falun Gong herself. And if you've watched China Uncensored before, you know that the Chinese authorities throw a fit at the mere mention of Falun Gong. That's why, even though initially Chinese state-run media were proud to report that a Chinese-born contestant had won Miss World Canada, they used a fake name for her. And obviously didn't tell her whole story. Later, when Anastasia's win and activism gained more international media attention, Chinese security officials threatened her father, who's still living in China. So he called her and asked her to stop talking about human rights.
Well, my initial reaction was, of course, I'm not going to speak about this anymore, and my family's in danger. But after about a few days of thinking, I realized if they're able to silence me now, I won't ever get a chance to speak again. Because they know that this tactic will work on me. I will submit to their manipulation this way.
Not only did Anastasia refuse to submit to China's manipulation, so did Miss World Canada's national organizers. During the run-up to this year's pageant, they received a mysterious threat. Don't be surprised if your sponsors start pulling out due to an insulted Chinese government. Not only did Miss World Canada ignore the threat, they forwarded the email to Anastasia. And when the two Chinese judges intentionally gave her a score of 0 out of 10, organizers ignored them too. Score 1 for Anastasia and the folks who run Miss World Canada. And this courage in the face of threats is why so many fans have been hoping she'll win the International Miss World Finals next month. It'll make both Chinese people and Canadians look good. There's just one problem. Next month's finals will be held in China.
Anastasie Lin, the reigning Miss World Canada, needs an invitation from the Chinese host venue to apply for a visa that she says other contestants have already received.
And she never got that invitation letter.
So without the invitation letter from China, I cannot apply for the visa.
And rehearsals started on Monday. It's just like that episode of Gossip Girl.
So, when's the party?
Saturday. And you're kind of not invited.
Wait, does that mean the CCP is Blair? Anyway, not to worry, because this is the perfect opportunity for Miss World to show that the Beauty with a Purpose pageant won't let China get away with using scare tactics to intimidate... What's that, Shelley? They are letting them get away with it. According to the Daily Beast, Miss World pageant organizers basically told Anastasia, sorry, there's nothing we can do. You need China's invitation letter to get a visa, and since you didn't get the letter by last Friday, I guess you can't participate. Now this may seem like a weird change of heart for the Miss World organization, but it's really not. The folks who were so supportive of Anastasia's activism before represented Miss World Canada. But the finals in China are run by the larger organization, Miss World Limited. It's a British company headquartered in London. So naturally, Anastasia flew to London to talk to them. They told her they were too busy to meet with her. Then, as a media firestorm began to descend on Miss World for, helping the Chinese regime intimidate a Canadian citizen, they told reporters, "We do not know what is in a contestant's background that would cause their visa application to be rejected." Falun Gong is what's in the contestant's background, okay? Did you even read about your own contestant winner? It's really not that big of a mystery. Or maybe Miss World Limited just doesn't have time to deal with this. But you know what they do have time for? Millions of dollars. You see, this year's Miss World will be held in Sanya City on China's Hainan Island. Since 2003, the Miss World competition has been held there 7 times. 6 of those times were in a theater they built specifically for the pageant. This is great publicity for Sanya and great for China's overall soft power propaganda. That's why, instead of charging Miss World to use facilities, the Chinese city paid Miss World $4.8 million to be allowed to host them. Not only that, but Miss World was also allowed to keep all the broadcasting fees paid by TV networks outside of China. So rather than demanding Anastasia's entry into China or changing venues as a matter of principle, the pageant will be held in a nice Chinese custom-built theater as the British organization pockets loads of money. See? Beauty with a purpose. Money is the purpose. But perhaps there is something you can do. Because if we allow China to stop Canada's most beautiful woman from participating in Miss World, what will happen when China holds the Winter Olympics in 2022? Should we also let them block any athlete who says something critical about the Chinese regime? That's why one Canadian, presumably this guy,
only takes an extra second to be courteous. After you, man.
Has started an online petition where you can ask Chinese leader Xi Jinping to let Anastasia into China for the Miss World pageant.
Because it's the right thing to do.
The link is in the description below if you want to join. Show the Chinese Communist Party that they can't bully the world into submission. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.